Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this graphics card. This is the AMD Radeon RX 480, but it is the 4GB version. It was recently featured in one of our new episodes to our You Choose I Build the £150 Gaming PC Challenge, where a contestant chose it to compete with other people, and to be honest, during that video it performed exceptionally well. Although as part of that challenge we do test a broad range of games, most of which are reasonably old now, so of course this kind of thing would perform well, but today I wanted to see how well it performs against something even more modern. Has the RX 480 4GB seen its best days? Stick around to find out. Now I know it's no surprise to anybody that I actually do really like the RX 500 series graphics cards and the 400 series graphics cards. I think they're exceptionally good from AMD, and everyone that I've actually had on the channel has performed exceptionally well. It has been a bit of a shame that AMD have stopped doing the driver support for them, or at least they've slowed it down now. You're not really going to get any kind of game performance drivers, but you'll still get things like security patches and stuff like that. But I think that the cards do actually still have a little bit of life left in them. It does seem to be a kind of trend of AMD's to stop things early, and unfortunately these are one of the ones that are starting to take the cut. The exact model that we've got here today is the Sapphire Nitro Plus, and to be honest I think it's probably one of the better models out there, and a lot of people would agree. Sapphire did a fantastic job of even the aesthetics of these back in the day. This one has a full wraparound shroud, so you just don't get any of those heat pipes shown from the side. That's actually pretty cool. You get a proper aluminium backplate, which again was really cool for its time, and this one even comes with a pretty cool feature that I didn't even see on the RX 580 that I've got, where you actually get a bit of lighting on the logo on the side. But not only that, it's actually changeable. It is an RGB. There is a switch on the back of the card here that you can press. You do need to open your case of course to do this, and you can actually cycle through different types of lighting, a nice little RGB one, a nice little sapphire style blue and green, and it actually looks pretty cool. It also has a dual BIOS feature on this one, which again is another cool feature of this. It boasts the twin fan solution here for cooling, which actually works exceptionally well. Throughout all of our testing we had absolutely no issues with the heat at all on this card, so all in all it was probably a bit ahead of its time when it was released. Underneath its extremely good looks, the RX 480 4GB has a GCN 4.0 GPU. It has a base clock speed of 1208 MHz, a gain clock speed of 1306 MHz. That is a little bit higher than the standard reference models, of course. It has a pretty decent 2304 shaders, but then when we come to the memory, this is where the card is probably going to start falling down in 2024. For memory, it only has 4GB of GDDR5, but it does sit on a memory bus of 256 bits. That's a lot higher than a lot of the newer cards coming out at the price that this was. It does sit on a PCI Gen 3x16 interface, and it only had a power consumption of around 150 watts. When it was released it only cost $200, which is actually quite unbelievable in consideration of how much graphics cards cost today, particularly of ones that would actually boast this kind of performance. Now those specifications back then would have been pretty decent, particularly at the price point of this card, and even the 4GB of VRAM wouldn't have been any issue for any game, but things have changed. VRAM is now a big issue, particularly in new modern titles. So how well does this card perform when it comes to some of them? If you are an RX 480 4GB owner and you want to play something like Alan Wake 2, which is probably one of the most demanding games out there, you're pretty much out of luck. Even just trying to start the game, you will be met with a bit of a warning error that tells you the graphics card drivers are just not up to spec, and also that the 4GB of VRAM just don't meet the minimum requirements. You can continue on from here by just saying next, and unfortunately even when you get to game you're still not going to be able to play because the game will crash with a very similar error. This is probably something that's going to be very common going forward with modern games because the card simply just is lacking that support, and the VRAM just isn't really something that's been supported anymore. But fortunately for us, we didn't get any other issues with the rest of our test suite. Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that actually runs okay on this card. Running the game in 1080p with a medium preset while enabling FSR 2.1 with a balanced setting, we managed to get an average of 60 frames per second with a 1% low of 43. The game actually runs okay with these lower settings. It's reasonably smooth and it's responsive even with the very low 1% lows, but it is actually more than playable. That is quite surprising considering that Cyberpunk 2077 when released was actually quite unplayable on most things, but after a long stretch of updates and fixes they've actually got the game into a pretty decent state, so anybody out there with an older graphics card like this can still now actually enjoy the game. Dead Island 2 is an extremely well optimized game and pretty much runs well on most things, and there was no difference here for the RX 480 4GB. Running the game in 1080p with a medium preset again here, while enabling FSR2 with a balanced setting, we managed to get an average FPS of 80 with a 1% low of 34. Now that 1% low may seem a little bit low, but to be honest, it is very similar on every single graphics card that we've ever tested. Maybe there is a little bit more optimization they could do here just to bring those 1% lows up, but this configuration provided a smooth experience, and even with those low 1% lows causing a few little stutters here and there, it was still more than playable, which is actually awesome for a budget card like this. Hogwarts Legacy again was another game that was extremely demanding when it came out, but again with more fixes has got better over time. We ran this game in 1080p with a medium preset again and enabled FSR2 but with a quality setting this time, and we managed to get an average of 71 frames per second with a 1% low of 43. Now Hogwarts Legacy takes a little configuration adjustment to actually get it quite playable on the RX 484GB, and there is some sacrifice here to visual quality. But after this, you can actually get a very smooth gameplay experience with no major drops, even inside of the built-up areas. Horizon Forbidden West is probably again one of the newest titles in our test suite now, and it is extremely demanding, putting a lot of even newer cards under a lot of pressure and seeing some weird results here and there. But running this game with the RX 484GB in 1080p with a low preset this time, where you had to actually really drop that down, and enabling FSR 2.2 with a performance setting, the RX 484GB managed to get an average of 64 frames per second with a 1% low of 40. Of course, with this configuration and performance, the game is playable and it looks okay. It's not the best experience visually, and to be honest, that's a little bit of a shame because the game is absolutely beautiful when the graphics are ramped up, but due to the low VRAM, it actually stops us from really pushing things up like textures. But if you're not actually that bothered about visual appearance and you are desperate to play the game, this card will get the job done. For anybody that's played it, they will know that RoboCop Rogue City is a very difficult game to play on pretty much all hardware, and it was completely unplayable on cards like this a long time ago before AMD gave it a bit of an update. But with a little bit of configuration now and some magical AMD tools, you can actually get a playable experience out of it. Running the game in 1080p with a low preset while enabling FSR3 with a quality setting and turning on frame generation, the RX 484GB gets an average of 55 frames per second with a 1% low of 43. With this configuration, the game is actually now quite playable, and it's all thanks to AMD's FSR3 with frame generation. Without it, no matter what settings you used, the RX 484GB just couldn't provide a playable experience, and to be honest, even enabling these kind of tools didn't really affect the picture quality at all. The game looked pretty good, and it played reasonably smooth as well. That is actually an amazing achievement for a card like this because you can buy them so cheap nowadays, and that is a pretty demanding game that's quite new as well, so anybody out there that really wants to play a game like that can still get away with it on a card like this. Starfield is another game that got saved by AMD's FSR3 plus frame generation technology here, running the game in 1080p with a medium preset while enabling FSR3 and turning on frame gen. We managed to get an average of 62 frames per second with a 1% low of 53. Again, like with RoboCop Rogue City, without FSR3 the game is just completely unplayable, but with it you can actually have a pretty decent experience. Visually it doesn't look great, so you may want to avoid to play it if you prefer the more visual appealing experiences, but it will actually play the game and you could probably complete it as well. The last game in our testing is of course The Last of Us Part 1, a game that when released would have had no chance at all playing on one of these cards, but again, just like some of the others, after a few updates and some extra tools from AMD, you can actually get a pretty decent experience out of it. Running the game in 1080p with a medium preset, while of course enabling FSR3 with a quality setting and turning on frame generation, the RX 484GB managed to get an average of 78 frames per second with a 1% low of 55. This is another amazing achievement here for the RX 484GB because this game would have been completely unplayable without FSR3, which when enabled does give you a very decent 60 FPS experience, and the game looks fantastic too. So as you can see from our testing, you can still play most modern games on an RX 484GB, even with its limitations in VRAM and even with its limitations in driver support as well. Although when you get to the super modern stuff like Alan Wake 2, you're going to be completely out of luck. It is time to upgrade if you want to play those games. Even some of the other games are really only held up with FSR technology. Without it, most of those games just wouldn't have been playable, or at least you wouldn't have been able to get a playable experience out of it. So it is shortly becoming the end of its time now. But that doesn't mean that these cards are completely useless. There are a lot of people out there that just don't want to play modern games. They prefer playing the great classics that we have out there, and for that this card is perfect. For those of you that like to play Doom Eternal, you can easily get 60 FPS and above with the 1080p high preset here. The game runs extremely smooth on this card, so it is probably one of the perfect options for it. For those that prefer something like Black Mesa, you can get a true high FPS experience here of over 120 frames per second in 1080p high. And if you haven't played that game before, definitely go check it out because it is a fantastic one. And then if you like to play even older games like Tomb Raider from 2013, 200 frames per second or above is absolutely no problem. Being a bit of a fan of older AMD graphics cards, and particularly the Sapphire Nitro Plus ones, I think I'll keep this card around for a bit. We'll see what else we can do with it, maybe turn it into a bit of a classical retro gaming PC. I do think the card is actually perfect for that kind of stuff, but let me know in the comments below, do you still have an RX 484GB? What are you playing? What kind of experience are you getting? Are you actually planning to upgrade soon, and what kind of upgrade would you be making? Or are you somebody that actually had one in the past, and what did you think about it back then too? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. We've got plenty more GPUs to take a look at going forward, and I'm sure as always, catch you guys in the next one. So as you can see from our testing, you can still play most modern games on an RX 484GB, even with its limited